Hello everyone, welcome to the Model Gaming Show. I'm your host, GWFawkes, and I just want to remind everyone that's watching live, I will be answering questions after the show, not during. It's too hard for me to look at chat and do this, especially as this is just a directed show. So, let's get right into it. Give me a sec to adjust my levels here. Cool. Alright, so this is for the week of August 12th, 2018. The only really new release that I totally bungled last week was Madden 19, August 10th. It's currently got an 81 on OpenCritic. We Happy Few, last time I checked, had dropped 3 more points instead of 64. I've read some pretty bad reviews of it, and it just looks like there's a lot of bugs and not much to keep you there, along with a lot of frustrating things. So that's unfortunate to hear. Really only one big piece of news this week, and it's for EA, speaking of Madden, for EA, executive Patrick Soderlund is leaving the company at the end of this year. This is pretty notable, He's been a huge exec for them, and while he might not be the best at press conferences and speaking live, since he doesn't seem very passionate about the games, he has been a remarkable businessman, and I just want to highlight a few things that he's the reason why this is in the news. First, just a little bit of background. He served as the CEO of DICE and worked on a ton of video games, including the Battlefield series and Madden. So the guy's no slouch, and he knows what he's doing. The reason why this is notable is last year, this is just coming to light, last year EA gave him $20 million as a bonus in stock options to stay on past this year. And it was kind of just like a gambit, like, hey, we're gonna give you $20 million in stock, hopefully you'll stay. And then he just decided not to, so obviously he doesn't need any more money. Including that $20 million, the reason why this is so big is he made a total of over $48 million last year. That is disgusting. I know EA is a billion-dollar company, but at the same time, some executive for that company just making $50 million seems a little outrageous, right? I know you're one of the biggest companies in the gaming industry, maybe the biggest, but that just seems like a ton of money for one person. Hey, maybe the dude's been worth it. He probably has been, honestly. But for 1 year, what the hell has his salary been for the entire time he's been there? He's been an executive for a while there. I have no idea, but I mean, the dude's probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars at this point, and that's just mind-boggling, mind-boggling, okay? Boggles the mind. Anyways, I just wanted to hit on that. That's really the only news I want to talk about this week. I really don't have anything more to say in regards to the IGN situation. More has come to light. I'm sure you can read about it better places and know about it in better places than here. I totally recommend following Jason Schreier in this, since he broke the story and he's leading the charge on, like, not leading the charge, that's the wrong way to put it, I apologize, giving out the most information and clarity on everything that's happened. The thing that I want to continue is this is the last part in my 4-part series of the systems that I have currently and why I did not buy them. And in this case, this is the only one. It's why I didn't buy a PS4 and why I'm going to in the future. So I want to preface this by saying I've never been a Sony person. I didn't have a PS1. I didn't have a PS2. I bought a PlayStation 3 for Blu-ray and because of a few games, not near the end of its life cycle, but definitely in the middle of its life cycle when it got cheaper. And I'd like to think I've gotten smarter as a consumer, although the Switch has proven me wrong this time around. It's cheap enough to where I'm not crying about it. The reasons why I didn't buy a PlayStation 4. First, I was already in the Xbox ecosystem, and that made it easy for me not to initially think of buying a PlayStation 4 because all my achievements and stuff like that, all my friends lists, most of the people I played video games with had an Xbox 360, right? So there's no reason for me to just think of buying a PlayStation 4. The second was after the initial announcements, right, where PlayStation came out and said, you know, hey, this is just a video game system and all that, and Microsoft has been backpedaling and correcting ever since. I think 2 years into it, and I did make a purchase eventually with the Xbox 2 years ago. If you want to hear me talk about that, that's like the first in my series, go check that out. You know, after 2 years, I felt like both systems were still on equal footing. They had the same kind of amount of exclusives come out, and no matter how many people tell me it's fantastic, I don't care about Bloodborne. I'm not going to apologize for that. I don't like the Dark Souls series. I'm not going to apologize for that. I played Dark Souls 1 for the Xbox 360. I played it for 4 hours, hated every second of it, do not get the fervor of it. The combat's awful, the movement's awful. You cannot convince me otherwise. I'm sure Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne are a lot better, but from my eyes and from all the gameplay I've seen, every enemy is a puzzle that you have to solve, and once you know that puzzle, it's just about solving that puzzle over and over again. It's just not my type of combat system. I'm sorry. Excuse me, I'm not sorry. I apologize for saying I'm sorry. I'm not sorry that I don't like those games. All games are not for everyone. So right off the bat, because I was already in that ecosystem, and there was Ori and the Blind Forest, Halo Guardians, Rise of the Tomb Raider exclusive, Forza 6. There were games that interested me, and you know, I just felt like going with Xbox again, as their downfall was a selling point to me. I like having a media box. I like having something that does everything, and that appealed to me greatly. And so I waited 2 years and paid $299 for it, I think, or $250 or something like that when it dropped. I apologize, I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it and what games I got in the beginning. I've played a lot of games since then. It's been 5 years. But I think The Witcher 3 was the game I purchased it for initially. When that came out and all the patches hit and everything, I just said, okay, I'm gonna play that game. And I played the hell out of the game. I just checked my hours. I think I played that for 135 hours. I played just the regular campaign for 90, Hearts of Stone for 20, and 145, I think, and Blood and Wine for 35. So that's probably been my favorite game of this generation so far. And I played that on Xbox. Now, I could have played that on PlayStation 4, but I played the first two on PC. And again, I was already into the Xbox ecosystem. So another reason why I didn't buy it, and this has been true ever since the PlayStation 1, I do not like the PlayStation 4 controller. I do not like the PlayStation 3 controller, or 2 controller, or 1 controller. They're the same damn controller over and over again. They're the same, except now this one has, you know, a touchpad. Cool. That's perfectly fine. I don't like it. I don't like how it sits in my hands. I don't like the way the triggers feel. That's just ergonomics for you for what I'm used to. It all started with the Dreamcast. I liked the Dreamcast controller, the way it felt because of the split analog sticks. And yeah, that's a big deal in playing video games, and buying a system is comfort, right? That's your input for the controller. I don't like it. So that's always been a barrier, is even when I bought my PlayStation 3, I was mostly playing those games then, and just played a ton of PlayStation 3 games in a row so that I could get used to the controller and get used to that. And yeah, I just, that's a huge factor for me, really. The next is, ever since day one of the announcements, Sony's arrogance has been super off-putting, and it's only gotten worse. Especially with Fortnite and cross-platform play and all that stuff. I totally understand the reasons for cross-platform play. Absolutely 100% get it. That doesn't mean they have to be so arrogant about it. And right now, I absolutely could make a large argument that Xbox is a much greater value than a PlayStation 4, especially at their current prices. I think that the Xbox's Game Pass and backwards compatibility compared to PS4's nothing, no Game Pass-like thing, no backwards compatibility. They've never given a shit about backwards compatibility. In fact, in the PS3, they phased out backwards compatibility out of future systems. They don't care about that stuff. Now, that's not to say that Microsoft, if things were reversed, would be doing the same thing. I think they'd be doing Games Pass. I don't know how much they'd be doing backwards compatibility, but I think they'd be doing Games Pass for sure, simply because that's the future. So those are like the main reasons why I haven't bought a PlayStation 4. I was already in the Xbox ecosystem. I felt the systems were the same 2 years in. I dislike the PlayStation 4 controller and Sony's arrogance. Now, that's not to say, like I said, I'm going to buy this system. And there's really two reasons why. First, their story-driven games are best in the biz, and this generation has absolutely proven that and really thrown Microsoft under the bus in that factor. Their games, like story-driven games, are second to none, and there have been, 5 or 6 masterpieces for the system. Here are 6 games I'm going to play for this system that most people would consider excellent games. You got Persona 5, many people's game of the year. You got Resident Evil 7 in VR. That is a big deal for me. I think PSVR is cool. I'm definitely going to get that. I'm just listing Resident Evil 7 since people friggin' rave about that game in PlayStation or on PlayStation VR. Uncharted 4 and 2 for 1 and Uncharted Lost Legacy. Both of those games. Michael Huber for Easy Allies brings up an excellent point that I totally agree with, that because Uncharted 4 does what it does so damn well, like the Uncharted series does what it does so damn well, that people take it for granted and just go, oh yeah, it's a 10, and then it's like not thought of as a 10, right? Those games are 10s, all of them. They're all fantastic for what they do and what they are, and Uncharted 4 looks amazing, same with Lost Legacy. Hopefully I'll get to play that co-op if that's an option. It looks like it's a co-op game. I can't recall if it is. Next two are big hitters that, again, everyone seems to praise, and that's Horizon Zero Dawn and most recently God of War. Now, don't get me wrong, there's about 14 or so other games, 10 to 14 other games that I'd like to play on this system, and that's 20 games for a system. That's totally worth it, especially when 6 of them. Persona 5 is supposed to be a damn 60 to 100 hour game. That is worth it. God of War, from what I've looked at, is worth it. Now, I don't go by time. I obviously go by quality as well, but those games are worth it. And the second reason I'm going to buy it is, despite not liking the controller, the D-pad is the best for fighting games, period. End of story. It just is. It feels the best. It's comfortable. I'm going to get several fighting games for it and probably just play versus the computer or online a little bit. Dragon Ball Fighters, the Street Fighter 5. I love those games, but the Xbox controller sucks for that, straight up. Never liked it. I don't like using the analog stick in fighting games. I use the D-pad. That's where I'm going to play my fighting games. Yeah, so those are the two main reasons. Story-driven games. Several others sprinkled throughout that I did not, that are not available on Xbox. But yeah, and really, when am I gonna buy it? I've said that I don't think the PlayStation 5 or Xbox, PlayStation 5 is coming out until 2020. I still think that's the case. I plan on buying this system next holiday season. So I think that both systems for Microsoft and Sony will be announced at next E3. I think Microsoft's will be shown. Like, it'll be there in person and it'll be good to go, and they'll release it that November because they want to beat Sony. They want to get ahead of Sony and they want to have that 6-month advantage, right? So I think that Sony will announce it then and either release it the following November, right? So that's 2020 November, or sometime in like March or the summer, something like that, before E3 or like near E3, to build the hype where it's like, yo, we're releasing it now in 2 weeks, and then June it's out, right? I think that's going to be what happens. And so I'm going to wait until next holiday season because the Pro will dip. I was thinking of getting it this holiday season, but you're only going to get that standard $50 discount, or maybe $100 off the Pro. But I can wait until next year and get $150, maybe $200 off. depending on the life of my Xbox and if I will get a next Xbox. I could trade my old one in, get some cash, whatever. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good time to buy, a sweet spot to buy. And the PlayStation VR will be cheaper as well. Those games will be cheaper as well, probably part of Sony's greatest hits. Some of them for 20 bucks, whatever. I'm not, it's not that this system isn't for me. It totally is. I'm just undersold, especially now, on the future of Sony, right? This is a fantastic system by and large. It's incredible. Most of my friends have it, okay? Most of my friends went Sony this year, or this generation. And every time I've played it and done anything with it, it's been fantastic, okay? I'm not shitting on the product. It is a fantastic product. And I'll probably buy a Pro because I want to play God of War and get a TV. Like, I'm going to be getting a PlayStation 4 and a TV and everything like that to go along with it. That's the plan, at least. So, yeah, those are my reasons. I realized this went a little bit longer than I think the other ones, and it's because I think I need to explain why I haven't gotten it, because clearly it's the better console for story-driven games, and those are the games really I like the most. So, don't get me wrong, though. I've played a ton of games on the Xbox, both old and new, that I've never played. Like, I've totally played more games for this Xbox than I would have for the PlayStation 4, guaranteed. So, for me, it's just not worth having it right now. I really think in the future, what's going to happen is Microsoft's just going to go all in with their computers, and I might not buy the next Xbox, especially if all the games are on Windows, right? And I will then get a Sony PS5 sooner rather than later. So yeah, that's it, everyone. Just a couple announcements going forward. So this is the last 2 weeks of April. I've got one more show in April, and I'll probably be filming a special video for it. But I'm going to be changing things up with my website. I'm going to be trying to make this look better, and in doing so, the only thing I've realized is I really can't be doing this live anymore to get the quality that I want. And so I think I'm going to be pre-recording these the day of, launching them at a same time every weekend, so they'll be consistent. And then if anybody's watching it live, I will be there in chat, for the next until 8 o'clock or whatever, if anyone's there that wants to chat. Otherwise, I'm really gonna start putting in a more diligent effort to stream Sunday through Thursday. I've decided that a few things, and I'm going to announce this again on my next show, okay? Just so if you watch it, you'll be up to par, and I'll put a special video out, but I want people to have the most chances to see this. I'm going to change up my streaming too. I've been doing 2 streams, a Case of the Mondays every Monday, and a casual session, which is just a fun game on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to try and play like one multiplayer game on Sunday. Monster Hunter World came out. I want to give that a try. Just one, I guess, popular game that everyone's playing, or a new game that everyone's playing. And then throughout the week, I think I'm just going to stick with one game. Monday through Thursday, I think I'm just going to stick with these games. I've got a lot of great, big, long games that I want to play, and I think it'll entice me to play them more. And then, on the weekend, really get in a good session of a multiplayer game. So that's it, everyone. I really appreciate you for watching this live or recorded here on Twitch or the archive on YouTube. It means a lot to me, and I hope that going forward it's going to be a little bit smoother, and that I will be more consistent in interesting things every week. So cheers.